Okay. Okay. So, a very good morning. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So, the topic that we'll talk today, it's about the application of GIS and remote sensing in the field of natural hazard assessment. Because we believe that natural hazards are one of the biggest challenges to the planet, and we are seeing the impacts are increasing day by day in terms of the cost, the damages to the humans, and damage to the economy. It's growing like tremendously, and that's why there is a big focus nowadays on the disaster management and disaster hazard assessment. And we have also seen that even for decades now, the GIS and remote sensing are very effectively used for the mapping the hazards, analyzing the hazard, doing the research on the hazard, investigating them, and also identifying the hazard-prone area, like the areas where there would be there might be hazards in the future. So that's why important, because, and secondly, the area that are mapped as a hazard-prone area for future, these will be the area where we should not allow any development, or all the land use planning should be based on this kind of map. Like if you're developing a new city, if you're developing a new town, or developing a new building, it should not be in an area which is hazard-prone, because to avoid the impact on those infrastructure in future. So that's why it's critical to do hazard mapping for regional scale, for national scale, for the whole globe, for the whole country, also for the cities, and also for detail. Because the more you go into a small area, the detail can be increased. The more you go for a regional scale, the detail will be less, but you will have a general perception how the whole country looks like. But usually we do things in different scales. You start from a whole country, you identify the area which are prone, like you identify one district which can be prone for hazards, and then within the same district, then you can do more research and do more detailed investigations to identify the specific areas which are potentially prone for the disaster or for the hazard. So that's why it is important that we do this hazard modeling, like the hazard assessment at multiple scale, starting from regional scale and then moving to specific areas. Now, if there is some question, please raise your hand so we can have more discussion rather than I just give the presentation one-sidedly. So please ask questions if there are some questions, there are some queries, and you have some confusion, or you want me to explain some things in more details. So this is how things are. The question is that there are two phenomena. One, we call it hazards, and second is disasters. Hazards means that we cannot stop the natural process. Like we cannot stop the rainfall; it will happen. We cannot stop the earthquake; they will happen. We cannot stop the floods; they will happen because of the natural process. We cannot stop that. But the question is how prepared we are. How do we prepare ourselves to minimize the impact of those hazards on the humans, on the economy? So these are the two good examples. Like here, the hazard is same. Like we have the same phenomena, rainfall, but one person has prepared himself. He has a proper jacket of rainfall, rain jacket. He has a good umbrella, so he's, I would say, enjoying it, right? He's protected. Nothing, rainfall has happened, but he is safe. Nothing will happen to him. But in the second situation, where the other person, where the same rainfall happened, but he's not prepared for that. He don't have the resources to protect himself. He is not well prepared for that, and because of that reason, he is being affected tremendously, right? And that tells that how prepared we are. That's why it is important that this slide of the purpose of the slide is that these phenomena will happen over a period of time, but we need to prepare ourselves to minimize the impact of those disasters, to minimize the impact of those events. Like if earthquake happens, how prepared we are. We know in Japan, one of the developed countries, We know that the earthquakes are happening there very regularly. But the question is, what is the impact on that? The impact is quite minimal because the people are very prepared. They have designed the buildings which can sustain the impact of the earthquakes. They have a shock absorbent installed in the building. So if earthquake happens, the building are at least intact. It doesn't collapse. If a building doesn't collapse, the humans living there will not be affected. And that's why this is how we should prepare ourselves for hazard, and also at a different level, at the city level, also at the country level. Now, how do we? This is what disaster management is. Like, first, you will have the disasters, but we need to prepare ourselves. We need to manage ourselves to minimize the impacts of those disasters on the humans and also on the infrastructure. Now, again, other good examples, you have hazards. Now, the difference is also between hazard and a disaster. Hazard is an event which will happen, like rainfall, earthquakes, floods, landslides. But if it doesn't cause any damages to humans or infrastructure, it will remain as a hazard. It turns into a disaster when you are being affected. When the community are being affected, when the people are being affected, that it turns into a disaster, right? And that's why it is critical that we make the difference between the hazards and the disaster. I know the hazard will happen, but we need to prepare ourselves to that the disaster it doesn't lead to our disasters. Now, the question is that often we are being asked that, why do we need disaster management? Because and it is common also in Pakistan that when you do research on the disaster management, we are being asked that why you're doing this, because it's all being these phenomena are being coming from Allah, from Almighty. So we should be we cannot do this. We cannot stop that. So you actually let it happen because it's coming from Allah. So we cannot stop that. But actually, the event will happen. The event will happen, but we cannot do the management. In this case, there is a good example where we have given it that shows that how earthquakes are being monitored. Like I've given this 4 or 5 examples where there are 5 events which are happening. 5 events which are happening in these are 5 earthquakes which happened in past few almost decades. And look at the impacts that we are seeing. You can see that Kashmir earthquake happened in 2005, and look at the magnitude. Magnitude was 7.6, right? If you know about earthquakes, in earthquake magnitude is in logarithmic scale. So 7.6 would be 10 times, 100 times lower than 7.8, right? It's not just only one number, but it's logarithmic, so the impact would be significantly higher if you even increase 0.1 decimal into the earthquake magnitude. Secondly, so the impact would be different. So there are 7.6, and then you have the earthquake magnitude is impact is $5 billion, and the impact on humans is 80,000 people are being killed. Now you compare that with the earthquake in China, in Sichuan earthquake, where you have the same earthquake. Where you have you have another earthquake, and then you can see the impact. The magnitude was 8, and the impact, the damages at cause is $20 billion, right? So, and then look at the impact on the humans. 87,000 people are being killed. So relatively, it looks better because compared to the Kashmir, the number are rather higher, but at least in terms of earthquake, it's better. But now look at the Haiti. What happened in Haiti? In a country which is located in one of the very poor countries located in the Central America. The magnitude is 7, so it's quite less than the earthquake in Kashmir and also in the China. It's only 7 magnitude, but the impact is on $13 billion losses that is caused. but the bigger impact is on the human that are being killed. Look at that. See that the earthquake is smaller than Pakistan and China, but people who are being killed is 230,000 people are being killed. The reason is that it's one of the most poor country, and the houses are not well prepared for the houses are not prepared for the earthquake. So the impact is tremendously higher on the humans, right? And this is what you can see also in the other earthquake. Let's move on to the next one, in the Chile earthquake, where we have the earthquake magnitude 8.8. So it's significantly higher, 100 times bigger than the previous earthquakes, 100 times bigger, and the impact on economy is only $7.7 billion. But the bigger impact is on the humans. Look, it's only 500 people who are being killed. So the impact is significantly lower on the humans. So you see that that's the reason that we need to invest on disaster management. If we invest on disaster management, we can see the impact that the humans' loss can be significantly reduced if we're doing proper research and we have doing proper land use planning and proper disaster management. That will be this is the result that we can see, that like the countries who have invested on the disaster management, look at the damages. Like even in Italy, there was an earthquake of 6.2 magnitude. The damages caused is $16 billion, and only 300 people are being killed, right? So the impact is quite lower compared to the other earthquakes, and that's the reason that when you do investment on this earthquakes. Now, natural disaster in Pakistan, I should not go into this number because these are specific for Pakistan. But let's go into the this type of disasters. We have a range of disasters, starting from natural disasters like earthquakes, landslides, tsunamis, those kind of events. Then we leads to human-made disasters, like disasters which are made by humans, right? Which are made by the humans, like the pollution, the terrorism, the many other things. Like the list is given. But natural includes earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanic eruptions, snow, glacial like outburst, flood, lightning, human-induced, human influence that in floods. We can have human has a bigger impact, that because if you have a river floodplain and then the water will flow, and if you start encroachment into that floodplain, what will happen? That the river will come will get smaller, right? So if it's smaller, the water will can go up. So that shows that the impact is bigger. And then we also see the human induced, even in landslides. If you build a road on a flat area, the impact will be lower. But if you build a road on a steep area, the impact would be significantly higher. So these are the list of disasters which are happening and which are being affected by these events. Now there is a what we call a disaster management cycle. It's a cycle that shows that the impacts are huge. Starting from, so this is the whole process through which we are doing the disaster management. Starting from, so the first one to do is the if an event happen, like in this case, this golden box show that if we have an event means if an earthquake happen, if a landslide happen, if a flood happen, what happens then? So even happen, after this, the first thing that we need to do would be a response. Response means that you reach to the area and you evacuate people from there. You provide them the food, you provide them the medicine, you provide them a shelter, a temporary shelter. Because this is something that you need to do immediately after an event. Because the first task that would be yours would be to save the people's lives. That should be your first priority, number one, to save the people's lives. That needs protection, that needs shifting, that needs evacuation, that needs to provide them the food, medicine, and temporary shelter. That is the first stage of the disaster management. Second would be, after that, you lead to a recovery. So people who are being affected, you need to provide them some money, provide them some facilities, so they get to normalization. Like they start their jobs again, they start their business again, they start their functions again, to bring the life to the normal. That's the second phase, which is called recovery, and this takes years. It's not just 1 or 2 or 1 week or 1 month process. The response is usually for a week or a couple of weeks, but the recovery takes years, even decades. Like in Pakistan, we had earthquake happen in 2005, like almost 17 years before, and still the recovery is ongoing. It doesn't stop because the government want to construct new buildings which are safe from earthquakes. So this process actually goes on for decades after an event. The recovery, and then we go for the mitigations. In mitigations, mitigation is preparedness for future. So in that case, our job comes in. As a scientist, our job starts here in the mitigation, where we are planning for the future. We're doing the land use planning, we're doing disaster management planning, we're doing the hazard planning to identify the areas which are for hazard, identify the areas which should not be used for development, areas which should be kept safe for even. So this is the what we call mitigation phase, which takes again years. And once you're mitigated, you have prepared yourself to minimize the impact of this event, then we lead to preparation. Preparation means how prepared you are. Like for instance, do you have enough facilities to protect 100,000 people if they're being affected? And this can be pre-disaster and post-disaster, right? So this is the whole cycle of the disaster management. So there is a response that includes a recovery, rescue, and evacuation. Then there is a recovery, rehabilitation, and then we have a mitigation, hazard modeling, and then the last one would be preparedness, that includes the land use planning. So all these need to have the geoinformation, and that need the GIS modeling and the GPS. Now, GIS basic is already been covered and should not go into this detail. This also been covered. Okay, now here is a quick case study that how do we make use of GIS and remote sensing for the landslide study. How do we use that? So landslide study and management, that needs. I'm sure probably if you know about the landslides, if you travel in the mountainous areas, if you travel in the mountainous areas, there is a lot of landslide happen on the roads, right? And then that if you doing the development planning, if you doing disaster management planning of those landslide, it needs a lot of data that should be used for doing this kind of modeling. Like geological map, it's required. Structural map is required. Geomorphological map is required. Soil map is required. Pathological map, topography map is required. Administrative boundary, transportation, drainage water bodies, land use, land cover maps, contour maps, major thrust, slope, and so all these are some of the data which is required for the for this kind of studies, right? And the remote sensing can be easily used, can be processed to acquire this data, and that's why we are saying that remote sensing can be very effectively used for doing this kind of study. So all this data which is required for regional scale can be easily acquired from GIS and remote sensing. Now you can see that landslide. I think there is a detailed talk by one of my colleagues, Ishfaq, on landslides. How they can be used for mapping the lands, and how it's being used for the disaster management. But I will just quickly go through that, and then I will try to focus on more other hazard rather than talking more on landslide. We have after 1 hour we have a specific talks on the landslide, where Ishfaq will talk more on the specifically how the landslide work and how we can make use of that one. But this is how it happened actually. This is satellite images. Like you can see that the image, you can see quickly images. You can see that before an event and after an event, you can see that the changes that you are seeing here. So these are the image which is taken before the event, and there is another image which is taken after the earthquake that happened there. You can see the impact is different, right? So this area was stable before the event. You can see that here it was stable, nothing happened, but after the earthquake, this whole landslide is being triggered. So the impact is, you can see the impact is quite high. Similarly, also being triggered by the earthquake. And these images, so these are quite from remote sensing, and these are the free images which are available after any event, right? And you can see the impact is very clear. So you can see these areas which are these are the areas which are highly impacted because of this event, and we can see them very easily on this satellite images. And the first thing that we need to do is developing an inventory. Our inventory means you're actually mapping those landslides that are triggered by any event, mapping those features which are triggered by any disasters. So then I will not go in that because Ishfaq will talk about this one. So then we correlate those inventories with the topography and geology to see which area is actually more prone, or which area is more affected by those events. And finally, this kind of map are being produced, like which shows that red one are the areas which are highly susceptible, which means we should not do any construction there because there can be landslide happen in that area in future. And there can also be, then we also do the green one are the one which are safe. So if you do any construction, that should be done in this green area, and the yellow ones are the one which are the moderate. Like we should, if we need to do construction, at least we should do planning that can be the buildings which are being safe there. Okay, there are 2 questions, I guess. Let's take question and we can move on to them. Okay, please, Haris, can you facilitate the questions? The question from Zain Hamad, please take the question. Haris, can you please unmute them? Can you unmute yourself, Zain? So we can hear you. Zain, can you unmute yourself? Do we have some from comstech? Do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I think there was a question from Zain.
There is no hand raised.
He has raised his hand, but I don't see it now. Probably he quit or anyhow. Okay, let's move on with then if there are no questions. This is the what we call the landslide monitoring. So we can one of the best thing that we can do with remote sensing is you monitor something, right? You monitor the phenomena, like which are the areas which are being affected by the floods. Monitor the how landslides are being moving from over a period of time, how things are being changing in a given time. So you see that this is a landslide, what we call mapping of landslides or inventive landslides that are being mapped in 2004, 2005, 2006, 7, and 8. So just to see how landslides are being changing over a period of time. Right? That is important to understand the trends of landslide, which area are being affected, where you are seeing more landslide, and so on. So these kind of things we can do very easily with the remote sensing. Now here is something that is being done for debris flow. Debris flow is also one of the big hazard, big events that happen in mountainous areas, where you can do which can have very big impact on the humans and also on the buildings. Like this is one of the example where a big debris flow happened in 2007. It's an area in Pakistan. You can see that the big event happened. So all the material is being flooded, right? All these buildings that were here, they are being flooded, they are being taken away. This building also among these dotted lines are being taken away. So this is how we do the land use planning or disaster hazard assessment, where we try to identify the areas which can be affected by the events, and that we should not do any construction there, because that if we do that, that can be affected by the event in future. And the image is given, the real picture is taken in the field also there. Now flood, I heard that the Uganda is affected by floods very frequently. If that is the case, it can also remote sensing can very easily use for the flood hazard mapping and flood hazard assessment. First thing is to identify where is your active flood plain, where the water flows in a river. Because if you know the active flood plain, we should not allow any construction there. Construction of any building should not be allowed in that areas. Analyze historical and topographic flood risk mapping. Analyzing current flood risk. Flood risk means identify the area which are affected by the flood. Flood mapping using remote sensing, and also incorporating the GIS overlays. So these are some of the stuff that we can do for the flood hazard assessment. Now, how the hydrological cycle works, I think I'm already sure you all know about that. This is how it whole process is working. But in this whole process, remote sensing has a very significant application. We can map the rainfall event where it happened. We can map the land covered where you have the things are happening, and you can map the tree covers where you have the tree, because these all features have a bigger impact on the hydrological cycle, and also on the flood modeling. So what happened in hydrological cycle? We're mapping the evapotranspiration, how much water is being evaporated, right? We can map that very easily with the remote sensing nowadays for the whole globe. Condensation, how clouds are being formed, we can monitor the cloud movement with the remote sensing very easily. Precipitation, where rainfall is going to happen, can give the prediction, like by mapping the clouds, mapping there are weather satellites which can help you to predict where you can expect the rainfall in future. Infiltration, how much water will go into the earth, runoff, and how much water will flow on the rivers. So that modeling can be used for this kind of stuff. Subsurface interflows, where the water can flow in the subsurface, and then you have different applications on different components, like on the forest, on the land, on the land cover. This all stuff can be mapped with the help of GIS and remote sensing. And if you're interested, you can just Google that. Like Google how the remote sensing can be used for evapotranspiration, how they can be used for mapping the precipitation and other features. So these all features are available, and there's a lot of extensive research going on all these applications. Hydrological cycle flooding is a result of complex interaction between rainfall and space surface process. Like the more rainfall you have, the more you can expect the flood event. Similarly, also how the surface is behaving, how the ground is behaving, how the ground is, how much you have the river profile, how much it is. So all those features are determine how much rainfall, how much flood would be there in an area. Topography and stream work, how topography, because in the floodplain areas, in the flat area, the flood will behave differently, while in the mountainous areas, the flood will behave differently. And that's why it is important that we do the mapping of the floods, right? That's critical for any kind of hazards. So that's why we often we are doing the mapping, doing the flood modeling to do the flood hazard assessment. Some common hydrological knowledge: water flow. Of course, water flows to the downhills from the uphills. Water accumulate downstreams, and water falling further from river that will take longer to get there. Steep areas are likely to be flooded than flatter areas. Where you have more steep area, you will have more flood there compared to flat areas. Areas which are close to a river will be affected more than the areas which are far away. Area downstreams in the flood will be affected more. So these are some of the constraints, some of the reasons where that tells how much area can be affected by the floods. Topography and stream network. For that purpose, it is important that we map the topography, because topography give you the knowledge at from where water will come and where it will go, and which are the areas which can be affected by this flowing water. So GIS analysis can help us to define the outlet of river basin, like which is the areas from which the river is receiving the water, right? All these accumulation, what we call the basin, from the area from where the water is being received by a river. And then we have the stream network, like, okay, you have the water coming from the basin, but where will the water flow, right? This network is also important to map the network. Then we have the topology of stream and basin. How the topology means the characteristics of the streams. Like if it's a bigger, if it's a deep gorge, or if it's a flat river, or how things are being moving. So all these are mapped in a topology of the stream and basins. And then a DM is required. A digital elevation model is required to do this kind of mapping. A little more on DMs. I'm sure you have heard about the digital elevation models. These are freely available from satellites, from the space data. So we can have those DMs and we can use them very easily for easily mapping. You can use them very easily for and two models are common. Raster grids obtain many applications for hydrological cycle raster grids. Sources of DM includes those made from the STM data is required, and the combination of the contour map is required. Trend analysis outputs from DMs. So this is what we acquired from the DMs. Flow directions, flow accumulation, flow length, and flow length, slope, subbasin, and downstream. All these features we can map them very easily from digital elevation model, and they are available free of cost. You don't have to pay any money for that. Like all these streams, the basins, the river map can be easily automatically mapped on the DEMs, and there are very basic tutorials which are available on YouTube. We can also share some of them with you, and they can be very easily used to do all these kind of modelings. Surface condition, how the condition is. If there are trees on the ground, the flood impact will be different. But if there is no tree, if there is a flat area, the impact will be completely different on the surface. Rainfall that does not infiltrate either becomes runoff or standing onward. These are surface conditions which are easily mapped from satellite. soil texture map, a land cover map. They are we can map them from remote sensing for the even whole Africa. These maps are available, and if you need them more, you also develop those maps by using freely satellite data, and you can have these very good maps. Now, topographic flood risk map: areas are closer to the river and flatter areas are more likely to be flooded by a specific rise in the river level. GIS analysis can be used to estimate the area that will be flooded by the given rise in the buildings, and that's the main data can be used. So these are the features which can be used apart from the DM, and they can be used for flood risk modeling. This is the impact initiative. So this kind of maps which shows that what are the areas which can be affected by the floods if a big event happens. See that so if the flood height is 4 to 6 meters, the impact, this would be impact. If the flood height is from 6 to 8 meters, look at the impact would be higher. And if the flood height is 10 meters, the impact would be even more higher, right? So this shows that how the flood impact can be mapped if you have the flood model. Yes, Ibrahim, you have a question? Please ask a question. Can you unmute yourself, Ibrahim? Hans, can you please unmute him so he can ask questions?
Sir, what is the meaning of flood height? What do you mean by flood height, sir?
Flood height, okay. Flood height is the the increase in the water level from normal water level. So normally you have this water level. So when the flood came, the water level will increase, right? So we call this increase as the flood height. And how much water will go up from normal level that cause the flood. So the water level, even if you have less water level, the impact would be lower. If you have the water level increase, the impact would be even goes higher and higher, because the buildings which are which are safe at 2 meter flood level can be affected if the flood level goes to 4 or 5 meters. So it is the height of the flood water from the normal river flow. Here, potential areas flooded if you have 1 meter height in the flood. These are the areas which can be affected. And if we increase the water level to 10 meters, the impact is bigger, because now the areas which were not inundated in 1 meter, they are inundated now if we increase the full water level to 10 meters. And look at 15 meter, what happens? Things are getting more bigger. So if you're doing flood modeling, we need to develop this kind of maps. We need to identify. This tells you the zone, like the area which will be affected if the water level goes to 15 meters from the normal water level. So in that case, you can identify even all those buildings which are lying in this zone will be affected, will be damaged. All these roads which are lying in this blue zone will be affected, right? So these kind of zones help you to identify the areas which should not be used for any future development planning, and which should be declared at the red zone or declared at the areas which can be affected by the flood in future. Now, this is again a flood risk map at 1 to 2 years. Now, we also have what we call it the return periods. Right? Return periods means that every country has some fixed return period of the rainfall. So the more the rainfall would be, you have the more the impact would be there. So in 1 to 2 years, like every 2 years, we can expect floods in this map, which can affect the area. So in this case, this shows that. Okay, Ibrahim, if you have a question, please ask a question. Ibrahim, please ask a question. Can you unmute him, Aris, please?
Sir, how do we know that the height of flood before happening the flood? How can we measure the height of flood, or can we predict?
Yes, that's an interesting question. There are flood models actually. Flood models. We need to actually have the what we call the historic data. Historic data means you need to know that what was the river discharge, like how much water was flowing in a river in a different flood event had that happened in the past. That's one. Secondly, we also can have the usually when we have a return period of flood events, like after 2 years, we can expect this much flood, this much of rainfall. So if you know the amount of rainfall, you know how much water can come from the sky to an area. So you know the amount, you know your ground. So you also know how much water will be infiltrated, how much water will go into the Earth's surface, and how much water will actually flow on the ground surface. So if we have these numbers, we can tell that how much river will increase from its normal level, because we know the incoming water is known, right? How much water is coming from the basin, and we also know how much is the river width. We know that, right, from our data. So we know that if we have this much water incoming from the basin, how much it will leads to increase in the water level. That can be done first in flood models in advance. They can also be, you can also do the measurements during the event, but it can be very accurately done. If you have accurate data, the flood modeling data, you can have very accurate flood modeling based on the topography, based on the rainfall, and based on other data. That can be easily done. So this map, look at this map. This is a 1-2 year flood risk map. This shows that every 2 years, you will expect a certain level of rainfall, and that will cause this much of the flood hazard. So these are the houses now which are being located in these yellow zones will be affected by floods after every 2 years, right? That means we should not allow any construction there, because if there's construction, they will be affected, right? That's for 1 to 2 years. Now look at the impact on if we increase the times. Now look at that. What happened now in 1 to 10 years? Like the 1 to 2 years were less area, 1 to 10 years, we have more area now. So more area will be affected in every 10 years. So this map shows that these are the zones which will be affected by the floods in once in a 10 years. Okay, yes, Zen, you can ask questions, please. Zen. We cannot hear you. Can you ask a question, please? Okay, if not, we can move on then. So this is for 1 to 10 years flood return period. So you can see the map, which are blue one are the area which are affected by the every 10 years, and then we can have the also 1 to 50 years, right? So the impact is bigger. Look, 1 year, right? 10 years and 50 years. So the impact, you can see the impact very easily clear here, that so the more you add the time, there would be people more be affected. Here, rainfall analysis. So this is show the rainfall, how the rainfall would be what can happen over a period of time, or it can happen in an area. Right? We have this kind of maps available even for tomorrow. Even for tomorrow, you can have it for the whole globe. Maps are available. We are listing this every day in our televisions. The weather forecast information that show that how much water can happen, how much rainfall can happen in the area. Now, flood mapping using remote sensing, satellite are very easily used for mapping the flood hazard assessment. There are, one of the problem with the remote sensing is that because during the flood event, during the flood times, you have the cloud cover. So if you have a cloud cover, so in that times, the optical remote sensing, which rely on sunlight, will not work, because sunlight doesn't reach the ground because of the very thick cloud in the sky. But at that time, the optical remote sensing will not work. In that time, what we need is the radar remote sensing, right? Radars actually works during the daytime, also work in the nighttime, and also work during the bad weather. Now, flood mapping is the remote sensing. There are free data which is available, easily can be acquired from different websites. Modus disadvantage is that internet is speed is low, but area and often provided by online. So, but the data is nowadays the data is freely available for the whole globe, so you can easily acquire the data which can be used for flood modeling. Here is the maps that I'm showing some of the impacts. So these are taken during the flood event. So you can see that the area before the floods and also area during the flood. So the one on the left is taken in normal situation, and the one taken on the other side is taken in the taken during the other side. Excuse me, give me a second, please. Okay, so this is how we can see that how much flood area, how much area is being affected by the floods during different during the flood events. Here also you can see that the impacts taken image, satellite image taken before the event, that shows everything flows normal, and image taken during the flood. So that shows that these are the areas which are being affected by the flood. So imagine if you are a policymaker, you are sitting in the government, and you see this kind of maps. So you also know who are living in these areas which are being affected. You can immediately do the response. Like you can immediately send the people to help the people to leave that area. You can send them. You can inform them even in advance. And you can do all in advance to inform people to leave that area because the flood is coming. And after even the event, you can stop doing you can stop allowing any construction in that area, because this will be affected again by a flood in the future. Now, this is a great image taken in Peshawar, in Pakistan. We had a very big event of flood in 2010. So you can see the image. And this you can have an image before flood and also the post flood, right? So pre-flood means image taken in normal situation, and post-flood image taken during the flood times. So you can see the impact is very huge. Now, from this kind of images, you can automatically identify the buildings which are being damaged by the floods, right? So you also know how many people are being affected. So that will help you to do the effective response. Like, you know, if there are 200 people are affected, you can have 10 ambulance might be enough. But if you know 1,000 people are being affected, you need to have more resources to help those people to leave that area, right? So these kind of images help you in a response initially. Secondly, it can also help you in doing flood modeling. So you know that how much water has come. You also know if this event happen again in future, this will be the houses which will be affected again in future if this event happen again in significance. Right, so these kind of images are very critical, are very important for the flood modeling system. Now again, flood hazard assessment. So we know that which are the areas, even which are the houses, even which are the buildings which will be affected if there is a big flood event happen in the future, right? Because we see that all the ones which are being shown under this yellow or the blue lines are the ones which can be affected by the flood in future. So flood hazard map for whole Pakistan. So we know that this is the red ones are the area which are can be affected by the flood in the future. Okay, let me finish, and then we can take we can read the question and also take more questions. Now, response to earthquakes, as I said earlier, that if you have an image taken before the earthquake and also image taken after the earthquake, so it can help you to identify the area which are prone to landslide, which are affected by the landslide, and also you can identify the buildings which are affected by this earthquake. So these kind of images, which are freely available after any big event, can be very helpful for the planning the response activity and also planning the mitigation response. Now, the first one, because after any big event, what you need is damage assessment. Like you want to know how many people are being affected, how many houses are being affected. So all these information are very critical when doing for the response activity, and that's how it can also be done very easily with the help for remote sensing, where we can do the damage assessment. Now, the faults are important for mapping the earthquakes. So these faults can also be mapped automatically from remote sensing. And we can also monitor these faults, like which fault is more active, where we are seeing more movement to help the government. And now we have the depth mapping, soil thickness mapping, which are also very helpful for the landslide, for the earthquakes. I will not go into more detail here because these are kind of more complicated. But this is now again for mapping the areas which can be affected by the earthquake in future. So the red ones are the no-go area, are the ones which can be affected by the flood, by the earthquake in future. So after any hazard, we can use this kind of modeling where we identify the red zone area which are prone for different hazard. We should not allow any construction there. Now, for fire management, we know that fire is also a big problem in Africa and also different forest countries where you have forests mainly during the summers. So they can be easily mapped by the help of remote sensing. I can see the map here. So you can, this is an image taken by NASA in one of the Australian forest fires. You can see that the red ones are the source of the fire. So if you are doing the monitoring of fire, or you want to do the response of the fire, and you want to throw the water from the helicopter or forward from the aeroplanes. So if you have this kind of images, you can clearly know what is the source of water, what is the source of the fire, right? So this can also be used very easily for managing the impact of the forest fires. Similarly, also this one. So this is the after the fire. So the red ones are you have the green forest, which is healthy, and then you have the red spots, which show that these are the areas which were affected by the forest, by the fire. Similarly, also here, like in this match, you can see that the red lines shows that where the fire is coming from, where is the fire. So if you're doing the fire brigade need to go, or you want to throw water from the air, these are the areas where we should throw the water to kill the fire. Again, like the source of the fire, you can see the clouds with the smoke, where it's going and also where it's coming from. So the source would be the fire source. Now, tsunami, also a big hazard for the cities which are on the beach, the coastal flood. Like this is the image taken before the tsunami that happened, and now you can see the image taken after the tsunami. Right? You see all these water goes into this area. See before tsunami and after, how houses are being fine, roads are fine. Now after the tsunami, you can see that the impact is huge. Now another picture before tsunami, everything looks nice on this beach line, and if you take image after the tsunami, look at the impacts. All this area is completely devastated. Like you can see this image is very clearly, right? So these are how the houses are gone. All the houses are gone. The area is being disconnected from the roads are being disturbed. So these are the images that shows how much area are being affected if there is a big event happen. Now again, area taken before image, and then after the image. Right? See that all the houses close to the beach are being affected by this. Now there is what we call it a charter of space. There is an agreement between the World Space Agencies which have agreed that if there is a big disaster happen, like big earthquake, big flood, big landslide, they will make the satellite images of that area freely available on internet, right? So this image, image that I'm showing here is all free. Uh, we don't have to pay anything for that. So these images are freely available if there is a big disaster happen in the future. Okay, I will stop here. Let's take the questions, and then we also have 5 to 10 minute break, and then we can resume with the second talk after some time. So let's take the question. Please unmute yourself, and then you can ask questions. We can also take some questions from the chat box. How can there's a question from Zen? How can we monitor landslide other than visual change through pre and post event? For example, if we cannot find a clear or visible change in the different images, what is the other way to monitor the changes in case of earthquake trigger landslide? Okay. First thing is that you can monitor the landslide change through what we call visual mapping of the landslide. Like you visually map the landslide, and that's what can be done. Secondly, there are a lot of automatic techniques which detect the changes. Landslide has a unique spectral signature, like the barren areas, and these features are very obvious. These are very easily mapped. Can be easily mapped in an image. So if you have an image, you can easily map them, and you can also identify them. You can map them through change detection techniques. Plus, also you can map them with the help of other technique called the cozy core. Cozy core is one of the techniques which can also be very easily used for mapping the landslide after some times. This is some of the techniques which can be easily used for mapping the landslide after big event. Okay, the second question. How can we monitor? Okay. For a bigger study area of more than it would be difficult to monitor which ones. Yes. The second question is, can we develop the larger inventories for a larger areas? First thing is you have satellite images. That's for sure, right? If you have satellite images, you have to acquire a lot of images, mosaic them in one image, and then what you can do is that there are some semi-automatic techniques which can be used for mapping landslide. So you can semi-automatically, there are a lot of algorithms which can be run on an image, and once you run those images or run those algorithms on these images, we can map the landslides, right? So this is done. There are a lot of literature available. If you want, I can also share that with you. But there are many algorithms which can be used to map the landslide semi-automatically. Okay, do we have many more questions? Please ask your questions. Can we ask, do you have questions? Yes, there's a question from raise hand, please.
Assalamualaikum sir, मेरी आवाज आ रही है sir? Voice is clear, my?
Not yet. Maybe you can.
I want to ask a question which is not related to this, because I am an artist and make a three-dimensional bill from terraces, and some others which are earth feature designing and relief maps, as well as making some terraces model and real features of the earth. And I also make the solid trains models reproductions. So my question is this: which software is helpful for me to create from Google Earth to draw contours and make the shape of three-dimensional, which
Okay.
which are required for my CNC milling machine, which make a vertical model.
Well, one of the software that we are using nowadays is Arcgis. Arcgis is very good. Uh, it's very powerful software for doing the 3D modeling, right? It's very powerful one. So what you can do is export your data from Google Earth into a KMZ file, and you can import that data into the Arcgis as a shape file. So once you have the data in shape file in Arcgis you can also have these these DMs, elevation models, which are in 3 dimensions, and you can overlay your data of terraces on those DMs and then generate the 3Ds. Right? That can be easily done in ArcGIS. ArcGIS is software that we are using in this training. So that can be used for doing 3D modeling. And also, if you want to work with the free software, there are also a free software which can also be used. Surfer, SURFER is one of the also used very effectively for 3D modeling. But there are also free software which can be also used for 3D modeling.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, do we have any more questions? Zan, please send me an email for the literature, and I can reply you with the literature. Okay, if there is no more question, then let's have a break of 10 minutes. Yes, please send me your email. My email, I will share my email with you. I think Dragula has already my email. I can type them here. It's Shafiq08@yahoo.com, @yahoo.com. Right, so you can send me an email. I can help you with that. And so this is so we have, let's have a 10 minutes of break, and we can resume in 10 minutes from now, which would be like 1:20 of Pakistan time. So you can do that, and then we can resume with talk. And talk would be by Ishfaq, one of my colleagues. He's working extensively on landslides, so he will specifically talk on landslides, how we can use GIS and more interesting for landslide mapping. For almost, there will be a lecture of 1 hour, and followed by lecture, he will also show you practicals, how we can make use of GIS and more testing for the landslide mapping initially, and how it can be also used for landslide hazard assessment. That will be done after 10 minutes from now. So let's have a 10-minute break, and then we can resume in 10 minutes from now, inshallah. Thank you.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, it's visible.
Thank you. Okay. Myself, Mohammad Ishfaq, and I'm a research assistant in GIS and Space Application Lab, GSAG Lab, and I'm also doing a PhD under supervision of Dr. Shafiq. So I will proceed this talk to the case studies that we have been done so far in the Upper Chitral, North Pakistan. So I'll be covering the landslide hazard, vulnerability, and risk assessment in the Upper Chitral. Means we are focusing, as Dr. Shafiq discussed in detail, about Is my voice clear to everyone?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. In detail about the different multi-hazards, including landslides, floods, earthquake, debris flow, and so on. But for this case study, we will be focusing on landslide hazard, susceptibility hazard, vulnerability, and risk assessment. So here we have a grand flow chart for this work up to landslide hazard assessment. So I have 4 different type of data sets which will be needed to accomplish this task up to landslide hazard assessment. And after that, subsequently we will be I'll be share the flow chart of vulnerability and risk assessment. So for instance, this is up to landslide hazard assessment. So I have 3 different type of data set which will be needed to complete this to complete the objective of the landslide hazard assessment. And which, first of all, can you see my cursor as well?
Yes, it's on DEM.
Okay. Okay, great. So we have 4 different type of data sets, in which the first one is DEM, digital elevation model. So we need a digital elevation model of the specific area where we are going to study. And from this digital elevation model, we have to generate. Okay, first I will just have a very brief overview about the landslides and means how they're occurring and why we need these specific parameters to be there to assess the landslides in the specific area. So we have, as we know, landslide is the movement of the earth material. So, and why this material move, it needs, there are some causative factors which are to be encountered in that specific area. So these are, if somewhere we have a landslides happening, so we need to know why this landslide has been happened, why it has been slide. So there are some parameters which are called causative parameters, means which are the reasons to slide the land in specific areas. So these all are the parameters which are necessary to study that. I mean, these are the major causes which can slide the land. So in that, in these causative factors, so we have a DEM, digital elevation model, and from this digital elevation model, we can generate a slope angle, because slope angle is very important. As the slope angle increases, so means steepness increases and the probability of landslide increases. So that's why we need to find out the slope angle for that specific region, which we can generate from the digital elevation model. We can further classify that slope into different classes, like from 10 degree to 0 degree to 10 degree, then from 10 degree to 20 degree, and up to 90 degree, and different classes. So second thing is slope. If you have any question, you can ask anytime, okay? And you can also ask at the end of this presentation, and I will also we will also have a detailed practical session on all these parameters, that how we can determine or generate these different causative factors, and how we can compare these parameters with the landslides, and so on. Means up to means we will do this work practically as well. So the slope curvature is like we determined that we have slope. Now we need to know that is the slope is concave, is it is convex, or it is flat, and so on. So we also means it also depend on the landslide happening, that if the slope is concave, there will be a different type of sliding, means there will be a slump of the movement. I mean, the movement will be like slump, because it will be like a depression, means it will be steep in the source area and will become gentle toward the lower area. So we need to know about the curvature of that specific slope. Means either it is concave, or it is convex, or it is flat. Means we can normally we categorize the slope curvature into 3. Okay, next we have aspect. Aspect means direction of the slope. Means now we know that we have a slope angle, but where it is directed, means it is either it is directed toward the sun, either it is directed to the south, to the north, to the west, to the northwest, and so on. Means we have different type of direction. now for the slope. So we also need to know that where the slope is directing. So we for that purpose we need to determine uh, the aspect of that specific slope, because those areas which are directing toward the sun, means the path of the sun, like toward the south or southeast or southwest. So these areas should must have, means comparative to the other areas, these areas have low moisture content. Okay, and so because of that reason, we have two possibilities. Means there possibly there will be less vegetation as compared to the northern areas, mean the other sides of the slope. So this play a very major role in the landsliding. And the last thing which we can generate from digital elevation model is drainage pattern. Drainage pattern, of course, we know that water is moving and it is continuously, it is cutting the slope downward, means it has a continuous down cutting of the slope. So it make the slope unstable. So this is also very important factors that we should have to determine the drainage pattern in the area, to see where the vicinity of the drainage or the streams or the rivers from the landslide. So these are the parameters that we can generate from them. Secondly, we have a geological data, means methodological mapping, because it also play a very big role in landslidings. Like if we have a loose lithology, it is very obvious that it will be slide easily as compared to a hard or you can say compacted lithologies like sandstone. If we have a mudstone or clay stone, so it is more easier to slide or to become weakened, to become fractured as compared to compacted lithology like sandstone or limestone. We also have faults, which is also geological parameter. If there is a fault near to the landslides, if there is a fault near to the landslide, it means there will be a more disturbed zone, there will be a more deformed zone, and there will be a lot of fractures. So it also tend to increase the probability of landslide. Okay, then we have a satellite image. I will come toward the field work, that why we do field work for after collecting this data. But before this, I will discuss about the satellite image. And from satellite image, this is very important thing, a premier step to determine the landslide hazard assessment, which is landslide inventory. Inventory means list of any things. So here we have landslide, so list of landslide. So we determine the list of landslides, means their distribution in the specific area, their special distributions, their size, and their proper boundary. So we mark each and every landslide of that specific area from satellite image. So, and this is very important step which we are going to do for landslide hazard assessment. Of course, then we classify this these landslides into different classes. Like we have rock falls, we have landslides. Means sometimes the land becomes slides, so this is called landslides. Generally, we have three different types in which we have slides where land becomes slide, and secondly we have fall where the land or the any rock become freely fall without any contact with the bedrocks. And also we have flow, in which we have debris flow or mud flow, where the land become flow like water flow. So these are different classes, and there are also subclasses as well, in which we have debris slides, we have rock slides, and we have mud flow, we have debris flow. Similarly, we have debris fall and rock fall and so on. So we have different classification. We do also a different classification of these landslides from satellite images. Okay, then we generate the land use land cover map. Land use land cover, in which we have water, means we need to generate a map which show that which of the specific area is barren land, where there is nothing, which of the area is snow covered, which of the area is covered by a water body, which of the area is covered by 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 the build-ups area and which is covered by the road network and so on. So this type of map is called land use land cover map. We also generate this map from satellite image, and also the road network, which is very obvious that we can also generate a road network from satellite image. That where are the major roads, where are the small roads, are linked roads, are service roads, and so on for the specific area. So after doing this, we actually do a field work as well. Why? Because to verify the landslide inventory means as we mark these, as I told you that we can mark these landslides from satellite image, but we need to verify that either the landslide are exactly there or not. Means we need to verify each and every landslide and also their classes, because we also classified the landslides from the satellite image, but we also need to verify this from the field work in the area to go there and see the location of the landslide, their boundary, and the specific class. So these are different 9 to 10 parameters. We also have some other parameters as well, like vegetation cover. We also use vegetation cover for means different. We have different prospects, and we can use these. Means it's up to us, because everyone have their own opinion that which specific parameter have more role in the sliding of the land and which have a less role. So it's up to means we can increase this parameter as well by adding the vegetation cover and so on. So these are different parameters which are required. Now in the second step, we here we have a bivariate model. These are different statistical models which we are using to compare the landslides with all these parameters, because from the landslide inventory we determined that where the specific landslide is, the pre-existing landslide is there, and also their boundary and their class. Now we need to know that this landslide has been occurred because of which specific parameter. So for that purpose, we need to compare this landslide with these parameters one by one. Means we need to compare the landslides with the slope angle, that or there is a great slope on the landslide area, or there is means which type of slope is there in that specific area. Similarly, we need to know the curvature of that specific area, the aspect. So we need to compare all these parameters with the landslides. And so we use bivariate models in which we have frequency ratio model. We have different statistical models. Statistical models are just used to compare two. Why this is called bivariate? Because we are going to compare two parameters, two variables, like landslides with the slope angle, then landslides with the geological map, then landslides with the faults map, and then landslide with the road network, and so on. So we are comparing two variables. That's why it is called bivariate model. And we have different models, like we have frequency ratio model, we have logistic regression model, we have information value model, we have weight of evidence, weight overlay analysis. These all are bivariate model proposed by different authors and different articles. So after this, after combining these, we get a map which is called Landslide Susceptibility Map, and this map explains that where the landslides can be occur in the future. Means we are going to predict the future occurring landslides from this map. How we determine this? From pre-existing landslides. We have a pre-existing landslide inventory. We compare this inventory with the different parameters, and we use a bivariate statistical model, and we determine the future occurring landslides in that specific area, which is called Landslide Susceptibility Index Map. Is it clear up to here? Okay, I think it's muted. So if you have any question, you can ask anytime by raising your hand. So after that, we are going toward the landslide hazard map. And what is landslide hazard map? Hazard map explain three things: that where the landslides means special probability of the landslides, that where is the specific landslides to be occurred, and second is what is the size of that, what will be the size of that specific landslide, means the magnitude of the landslide. And the third thing is when it will be occur, means the temporal information of that specific landslide. So in landslide hazard index map, it answers three questions: that where the landslides is to be occur, what will be the size of the landslides, and what will be the when it will be occur, means temporal study. So for this purpose, we use two triggering parameters. Triggering parameters are these are the causative parameters, and the triggering parameters are means which push the land or the specific area to slide, means which play a pushing role for the land sliding. So and we have two triggering parameters in which we have PGA. PGA stands for P ground acceleration map. P ground acceleration means this can be determined from the earthquakes. Now the area, if there is any earthquake happen in the area, and we need to determine the acceleration of the ground in that specific area. Okay, so this is P ground acceleration of the area, and then we have GPM, global precipitation measurement, means rainfall or snowfall in that specific area, because these two are the main triggering factors for a landslide to be occurred. We have determined PGMF, okay, from the literature, and then we determined the GPMF from NASA website, and we download 10 years data, means 10 years precipitation data, and we take an average of that data, and then we compare these two parameters with this map by giving specific weightage on expert basis, and we determine the landslide hazard index map. That's all about the landslide hazard assessment of the of specific area, which is Upper Chitral. Now I will, this was just you could say brief and very detail as well work flow chart of the work which I have been done so far. So here I will show some pictures and the work which I have been done. These the parent green color show the landslides, means the inventory, landslide inventory, which I already told you that we need to determine, need to mark all the landslides, the pre-existing landslides in the area. So these are the landslides in Upper Chitral area, and also we classified these landslides into scree slopes, into rock fall, into debris cone, and rock slides. These are 4 different classifications, because in my area I found these 4 different classes. We also have other classes as well, but in this specific region I found these 4 classes. So I classified the whole landslides. These are 1200 landslides marked in the area, and these have been classified into these 4 classes. So let's have a zoom look over it. So these are the marked landslides in the area. We have some other. These are the field pictures which we have when we were there to verify the landslide. So these are some field pictures taken in the area. This is another example. This is the Mastood village. We will be also practicing this specific zone in the second in the second session. These are some field pictures. Another example. So this is what I have been discussed so far. These all maps are actually the parameter, the causative parameters, which I already discussed in the flow chart. That these are the main reasons for these landslides. These black colors show the landslide, the 1200 landslide, which I already shown in the previous slide. And these landslides are compared one by one with all these parameters. With all these parameters, with 9 parameters. Here we have land use, land cover map. This is elevation map. This is slope map. This is curvature map. Then aspect map. Then we have a fault map. Okay, we have a road network map. We have a drainage network map, and we have a geological map, means lithology of the area. This table show that 70% for modeling and 30% for validation. Because this is model, we actually generate a model for susceptibility mapping. So we need to verify or validate our model that either it is correctly done or not. So for that purpose, we classify these landslides, randomly classified these 1200 landslides into 70% and 30%, and we keep these 30% landslides out of this modeling, and later in the later stages we validate our model with these 30% landslides. This is a map. After doing all this work which I discussed, we have found this map, which is called Landslide Susceptibility Map, in which I classified this map into 4 classes, like very low susceptible zone, low susceptible zone, medium susceptible zone, moderate or medium, high susceptible zone, and very high susceptible zone. So this is the map which has been generated from the pre-existing landslides and the causative parameters. Okay, this is very interesting. All these steps has been included in this model. This is a model which explains all these steps to determine landslide susceptibility index map. Means we can prepare a model to do this whole work on a single click. So now this okay, if I have a zoom look over it, like here we have land use, land cover, we have digital elevation model from which we determine slope, then we aspect, then we have all the parameters in this. We also have on the other parameters which I discussed. So I have done this one by one with all these steps, and I finally determined the landslide susceptibility map, which is this one. Okay, so I mean to say that we can also generate a model in GIS ArcMap to do this work on a single click. Now it's very easy for me to put my input data, and then I click over it, and I will find all these steps to be done, and I will find the the susceptibility map. Okay. For landslide hazard map, where I use the triggering factors, so I have determined the precipitation data, global precipitation measurement, which I already discussed that I have downloaded data from NASA website, and I downloaded 10 years data, and then I take the mean of that data. So this map and the background is the precipitation map of for Upper Chitral, and I overlay the landslides over this precipitation map. Similarly, this is a PGM. This map has been taken from the literature, which has been already published. So this is a precipitation map, a PGA map, pre-ground acceleration map, and of course the colors explains in the legends. Means the acceleration for the specific area has been shown in the legends. Means we have maximum 0.36 acceleration. Its unit is centimeter per second square. Acceleration means we have 0.36 centimeter per second square acceleration in the red zone, and we have very low acceleration up to 0.16 in the green zone. These two maps has been combined with the landslide susceptibility map by giving specific weightage, and we find the landslide hazard map. So this is a map which has been generated after landslide, after comparing the triggering factors with the susceptibility map by giving specific weightage. And I also generated a model. Means we can also do this step very easily by having a single click over it, and we can generate the landslide hazard map. Here we have PGA map, we have rainfall map. I use a raster calculator to combine these two maps with the susceptibility map then, and I finally found the landslide hazard map. Okay, this is the first part of my work which I have done so far, and I also shown my results from this work. Okay, second part is the vulnerability of my work, and vulnerability means degree of loss. Means now we already know that where the future occurring where is the possibility of landslides to be occurred. Now we need to know that because of these future occurring landslides, how much area or how much part of the land is will be damaged from these from future occurring landslides. So this is called, and also their degree of loss means the percentage of loss from the landslides. So this is called vulnerability, means the degree of loss. So we have different type of vulnerability. Vulnerability has been classified into different classes. Like we have physical vulnerability. Physical vulnerability means the buildings and infrastructure in the area, means how much loss will be there to the buildings and infrastructures of the area. This is called physical vulnerability. Then we have environmental vulnerability, in which we have agriculture, means the degree of loss of the agriculture land, the forest land cover, the streams mean water body. So these are called environmental vulnerability. And we have social vulnerability, in which includes the population, life and health of the people, which is very important for us. So these are three different types of. We also have another type of vulnerability as well, but as per my concern, I use these three because in my area these are the major vulnerability parameters over there. Other, we also have a commercial, means economical vulnerability as well, which mainly focuses on the commercial of the area. But in my area, because of the backward area, so I exclude the fourth parameter of vulnerability. And this is a detailed tree, you can say a flow chart, which has been designed for the physical, for the vulnerability of my work. So this is a very detailed work. I will explain it by having a zoom view over it. So this is this is the first part, means house in the area. So this is the work which I have done. I divide this work into three levels. Okay, before this work, I will explain that. Then I have an extensive field in the area. I have 13,000 buildings in my area, and I acquired data from these 13, each and every house from these 13,000 buildings. And what type of data I have been collected? So it has been explained over here. So I have been collected this type of data, in which we have wall material, means what is the material of the wall. I use different codes like 1, 3, 4, 6, and 7, but these actually explain different type of material. Like 1 means adobe masonry, and 3 means rubble masonry, 4 means the building, the walls which are made up of cement blocks, 6 means those walls which has been made of bricks, and the 7 which explain that those walls which in which we have beams or piles, means confined concrete has been used. So these are different codes which I have been used for the work. So I collected the wall material of the area of each and every buildings in the area. Then I also collect the roof material, and again we have codes 2, 3, means those roofs which are made up of sheets, those roofs which are made up of mud, means which is being covered by mud, and those roofs which is being covered by some, you can say, iron sticks, means which have been supported by iron sticks and covered by some bricks, or you can say yes, slabs or bricks, and those which has been confined concrete material. So these are different codes which have been used which have been used, and this type of data has been collected for each building roof material. Then we have physical condition of each building, which is again categorized into 3 categories, and 3 codes has been assigned, like G1, G2, G3. G1 means those buildings which are very much you can say undeformed, means which are new buildings which have no any deformation. Those buildings, G2 means those buildings which have some minor fractures or here you can say small fractures or cracks. And G3 means completely damaged building, which have fractures in the beams as well, which are you can say dangerous or more deformed as compared to the other. Okay, we also determine the age of each building. Means then I classified the age into 5 classes, like the age, if the age is less than 10, means I categorized the buildings upon their ages up in the less than 10 years, then 10 to 20 years, then 20 to 30 years, 30 to 40 years, and greater than 40 years. So I mean to say that I collected this different type of data from the field, and I compared this data with their self and then with the other parameters as well. Okay, what I'm going to explain is that I have divided this tree into 3 levels. Like in the first level, I compared the material with each other, the building material, the wall material, the edges, and the physical condition. Means I just compared these parameters with their self. Then I compared these parameters like physical condition, material, and age. Means I in the second level I compared these 3 parameters by assigning different ages, different weightages. Like I have assigned 0.2 weightage to the age, then 0.5 weightage to the material, and 0.3 weightage to the physical condition. This has been done upon the physical, which is called multi-criteria decision making, means upon expert basis. That for me, let's suppose in my area, I found that material is very important, so I assigned 0.5 weightage to the material, and physical condition is the second most important, which is 0.3, and then 0.2. So this has been done for each house. Now, secondly, I have done the same work for each school in the area. Okay, and third, I have done this the whole work for hospitals in the area. So I use these 3 you can say 3 type of buildings. I ignored the shops and industrial buildings because in my area, because of the backward zone of the backward area, I didn't prefer to the shops, and I didn't consider them because they are very negligible in my area. So I use these 3. We can in some areas, if we have more congested area and we have more commercial zones as well, we can also take that parameter as well in the physical vulnerability. Okay. So okay, in the third level, now I explained the second level in which I compared physical condition, material, and edges, and find their comparison, the results of their comparison. In the third level, I compared these 3 parameters are type of buildings upon their usage, like school, and the usage of school, we know, means building use, which is school, the building use, which is hospital, and the building use, which is house. So, and I again assign different weightages upon expert basis, that if there is a school, so it is more, you can say, vulnerable. So I assign 0.4 weightage, then to the hospital, I assign 0.3 weightage, and to the house, I assign 0.2 weightage. Okay. Okay, in the next step, I compare the results of these comparison with the hazard map, which has been determined in the first stage I already discussed. So I compared these 2 parameters, and finally I get the physical vulnerability map for the area. Okay. This same work has been done for the environmental vulnerability, in which we have 6 different parameters, like agriculture land, like forest land, water body, snow cover, barren land, and build-up area. So I again assigned different weightage to these different 6 type of parameters upon expert basis, and the same work has been done for by comparing them with the hazard map, and I found the environmental vulnerability of the area. And same has been done for I didn't show here about the population work because it's little, means I'm working on the population work, but same type of methodology will be adopted for the social vulnerability as well, for the population of the area. These are the results for physical vulnerability. Here, because we have done this for each and every house, that's why it is not very visible in this, but I shown them in a zoom view. Here you can see that some of the dots, these are not basically dots, these are boxes which are the roof of each building in that specific area. So some roofs are red color, some are orange, some are yellow, some are green, and some are means they are classified into different classes upon, as we discussed in the flow chart, that the red zone means they are very high vulnerable for the land because of their material, because of their age, and because of their physical condition and their use of building. And similarly, the orange are comparative to the red, they are low vulnerable because of all these parameters which has been discussed in detail in the flow chart and so on. So this is these are the results for physical vulnerability. Okay, same. So this is a close view of a specific area, which is Mastood Union Council, to see these houses clearly in a zoom view. So here we can see very clearly all these 5 type of classification of vulnerability, physical vulnerability. We can see all different colors, and we also have knowledge of the color as well, that this is green, this means it is low vulnerable, and low vulnerable with respect to what? With respect to their age, with respect to their physical condition, with respect to their material, and with respect to the use of the building. Okay, same as I discussed for environmental, we also have some results for environmental vulnerability. Now here we have because here these are actually the buildings, these small boxes in green color are buildings, and they have low vulnerable for environmental vulnerability, because in environmental, and when we are talking about environmental vulnerability, we have more we can say more importance for the forest area, for the agriculture area, and then for the water body, not for the buildings. So this is these are the results for environmental vulnerability, and I already discussed for this. Means same will be done for social vulnerability as well. Okay. Okay. Next step is the exposure of exposure elements. Exposure elements means that now we have a landslide map. Means we have a landslide hazard map. Now we need to know that which specific part is more exposed to the landslide. I mean specific part, I mean from the specific part, I mean which means out of these total buildings, how much are which buildings are more exposed to the upcoming landslides, futurely occurring landslides, and which are comparatively low, have lower exposure, and then very lower exposure. So I mean to say that after having a landslide map, we need to know that which elements, like for instance, if we talk about the buildings, which building is more exposed to the landslides and which building is less exposed to the landslides. So we need to determine the exposure map as well for the area. So this is an exposure map which show the red color show very high exposure and the green color show very low exposure. But for this area we have high, very high exposure and high exposure, and we do not have any moderate exposure or low exposure for this specific area. Okay. This is what I'm going to do now, is to compare the environmental vulnerability, means to summarize the environmental vulnerability, physical vulnerability, and social vulnerability. And from these 3 types of vulnerability, we will get as upon the definition, as I discussed in the very start of vulnerability slide, that vulnerability have different types like social, physical, and environmental. By comparing, by summarizing, by the summation of these 3 types of vulnerability, we get the total vulnerability of the area. And after that, after getting the total vulnerability of the area, I will compare this with the hazard map and with the exposure map. And finally, I will get the risk map. And this work is to be done from my work, means I'm just working on it. So that's all about the work which I have done so far for Upper Chitral, North Pakistan, and these are different steps which I discussed in detail. Now, if you have any question, I can answer you. And after that, we have a practical session to mean. If I discussed these different type of you can say methodologies, and I discuss in detail. Now, if you have any question, then I can answer. Okay, Ebrar have a question. Yes.
Sir, is it necessary to consider environmental vulnerability, physical vulnerability, and social vulnerability to make a hazard assessment map?
Yes, exactly. Because risk assessment actually means that which part of the land is risky for the upcoming landslide. So if we have an importance, like for instance, if this is Chitral area and we know that there is an agricultural land and people, most of the peoples have a very means their total role of their life is upon the agriculture of the area, on the upon the land of the area. And similarly, if we talk about the water body, means for the people, they need water as well for their life. So for this means to consider these things, we also need to see the means to look at the environmental vulnerability as well, means because this is it concerns to the agriculture land, to the forest lands, which are very important for those specific for the people there living there. So for this purpose, we means I mean to say that it totally depend upon the area, that if the area have no such type of lands, like no agriculture land or forest lands over there, so then we don't need to compare or to put these parameter as well. I mean, it depend upon the area, but in this specific area we have their total dependence upon the land on the agricultural land over there. So this is very important for them. So, and if it is risk, if it is exposed to the landslide, so it is risky as well, and we need to consider this.
Thank you, sir.
Do you have any other question? If you don't have any question, then we will move toward the practical session. But before this, I think we have a break of 5 to 10 minutes, I think. And I hope that you have the data which I have been shared with Dr. Shafiq. I hope anyone have get this data. Can anyone tell me that they have the data on which we will be doing a practical session? Do you hear me? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have the data which we are going to be work on it for the practical session?
Yes, okay.
Okay. Means it has been over there for with every listener and every participant. I think we have a break of 10 minutes and then we will start for the practical session if there is no question. question or query later as well. So I will be there and I will be happy to respond. Yes, we will start working on GIS in the practical session, but after a small break. About how to add the base map from here. Here we have add base map, and from here we need to add the base map. I already added this map over here, so you need to add this imagery without label, because we no need the labels. We do not need the labels, so we will add the labelless map, which has been already added over here. Okay, what I'm going to do now is to mark the landslides in the area. So this was the very first step, which I already discussed in the flow chart. Okay, in this particular session, we will be going to complete the first you can say flow chart, which is up to landslide hazard mapping. Not we will be not going toward the vulnerability and risk assessment, because it is very detailed and we cannot cover this whole in this 2 hours. So in this workshop, we will be focusing on the first stage of my work, which I already discussed. So here we have a base map, and also we have a boundary. We make its color more prominent. Okay, this is Mastood village. You can also label to see the name Mastood. Okay, now I need to add a shapefile. You already know how to add a shapefile, a new shapefile. Let's suppose I have a folder. I have this folder. I want to add a new shapefile. I'll go to the new and then shapefile. Okay, I can give a specific name to this shapefile. Let's suppose, because we are going to mark landslides, so I'm going to give the name landslides in the area. And because this will be a polygon, not a point or polyline, so I select the polygon. We can also give a specific coordinate to the shapefile, because the area is lying in UTM 43 knot. So I select this zone, and if it is not over there, you can select it from the projection coordinate. Then you will go toward the world. Sorry, because we are using UTM, so you will click on UTM, and then on the WGS 1984, and then because we are in northern hemisphere, so northern hemisphere, and then we will search for 43 knot. So from here you can add the coordinates, but I already put these in the favorites, so it has been shown over here. So I click over it. Now I will click on OK. Now I have a shapefile generated. Okay, so now I need to start editing on this shapefile. Okay, start editing. We can start editing from here as well. Here we have editor feature, and then start editing, and also we have another option from here, start editing, and then we will select the next slide. Okay, I already told you that first step is what, to mark the landslide in the area. So first of all, I want to see the zoom view of specific area. let's suppose. Okay, this is now the view you are going you are seeing is the satellite image. Okay, and this is actually Google image which has been taken, which has a resolution of 2 meters. So here you can clearly see that this specific zone is showing a very loose material as compared to this zone. So this loose material is actually a sliding material, and this is a specific type of sliding which is called scree slope. So we are going to mark this zone, okay? Because for me, by having the visual look, by having the you can say the texture of the between the color variation, and these actually clues me that this is a loose material. So I will mark this as a landslide. Similarly, we have another landslide from here. I'm going to mark these landslide, but first I want to just show you that how we can see the landslide from satellite image. So first of all, I need to start editing. Okay, now editing has been started. Okay, I also need to take a tool which actually, okay, from here, because I need to start editing on the landslide. I will click this, and I have different options that how I will be digitizing the specific zone which are landslide. I have a polygon, I have a rectangle, I have circles, ellipse, and so on. But because this is an irregular shape, so I will click on polygon. Okay, now I can digitize this specific landslide. For me, with this resolution, I okay, I can also make this blank so that I could see. Okay, I double click over here by completing this specific landslide. So it has been marked now. Okay. If anyone have any confusion, you can ask. Okay. So now I have now I'm going to mark another landslide in this area. Let's suppose I have this color. I can also zoom this further. Okay, now I'm going to mark this. Again, I need to select the polygon. Okay, this is actually the way how we are going to mark the landslide. I'm not going to mark very correctly because of the time as well, and because of the map, the loading of the map. So I can, if I have a very close view and very, you can say, precisely, I can mark it more precisely than as I have marked over here. So, but for instance, I just want to show that how we are going to mark the landslides and how we are doing all these steps which has been discussed in the theoretical session. That's why I will be I will be doing this little quickly. So this I have another landslide. I also can mark this from the source area. So this is another landslide which have been marked. So this is the way how we mark landslides. I will search the whole area for the landslide, to mark each and every landslide in the area, the pre-existing landslides. Are you following me? If you have any confusion, because I already have marked these landslides in this area, which is already there in the data, but I was just to show you that how we are going to mark landslides in specific area from satellite image. So this is the way we are going to mark landslides. If you have any confusion, you can ask me. Otherwise, I will go for the next step, where I already have the landslides of this specific area, which is in which I already distributed in the data. Okay, if you don't have any question till here, so I'm going to remove this now. Why? Because I already have the landslides of this specific area. But for you, if you don't have, you will do all the landslides in the area, and then you will stop editing. And what it's saying that, do you want to save your editing? I said yes. So this editing has been saved now. These 3 landslides which I marked has been saved now. Now the second step after that, the second means when you do all the landslides marked for your area, now the second step is to compare, to see that what type of parameter, which of the different parameter is has the key role to slide this area. So this is another step. We will be going for this step after having this. But before this, you need to mark all the landslides in the area. But I already have given you the landslides, so you need to go in your data, and here in your data, okay, here you have a landslide 1 and landslide 2. Okay, you need to click on the landslide 1. Now I'm going to remove these the landslide which I marked now, the 3 landslides, because I already have all the landslides of this area. So these are the landslides in the area. Okay. I also have, these are not the total landslides of the area. We also have landslide 2. I'm going to tell you that why I divided these landslides into landslide 1 and landslide 2. Okay, these are different landslides. Actually, first you need to mark all the landslides in the area. Okay, and the second step is, I discussed in my presentation, that we need to divide the landslides into 70% and 30%, because we need to use the 70% landslides for modeling, and we will verify our model with the remaining 30% landslides. So these, I already divided these landslides into 30% and 70%. Okay. That's why I gave name landslide 1 and landslide 2. But actually, you need to mark all the landslides, and after that, you need to divide these landslides into 2 categories upon their percentage, and this means it's depend upon the person who is working, that either he divide into 70% and 30%, or either he need to divide it into 20% and 80%. So it's up to the area and up to the work, the person who is working in a specific area. So now for modeling, because I am going to do modeling, I will remove the 20% landslides, because I need to do this in the later stages to validate my model. So that's why I just need to focus on the 70% landslide of the area. So this is first step which is to be done for the area. And I already asked you that if you have any question, then you can ask me. Can you hear me? Anyone? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, because actually might be I confused that if there is any internet issue, and if it's not delivering you. So okay, thank you. Okay, this is the first step where we mark all the landslides of the specific area. Now, as I already mentioned in my presentation as well, that now we need to see that which parameter has a big role, or which parameter has a major role comparative to the other parameters, and these and occurring these landslides. So I need to uncheck these landslides, and also the work of this base map or the satellite image was to mark the landslide of the area. Okay, so now I do not need this map anymore. For instance, because I'm going to work on the parameters. So in parameters, I discussed 4 different data sets in which we have a dim data, we have a geological map, we have a satellite image from which we determine the land use, land cover, and also the road network, and the satellite which the landslide which I already marked in the area. So I need to add the DM digital elevation model um, to this, because now I need to okay, I already gave you a DM of the area. You have a folder DEM. You need to click over it. Okay, it's outside of the area. I think it's over here. Area dim. We have a file area dim. Okay, let's suppose the second step is to add a dim digital elevation model. You can download digital elevation model from USGS website. I think I'm not sure that you know about this or not, but we have different websites from where we can download digital elevation model. I already given in the data, but I don't know. It's not working over here. Let me try again. Otherwise, I will. I have a source, but I think it will be a problem for you guys, because you don't have a digital elevation model then if it is not in this data. Okay. This is actually DM digital elevation model for the whole area, for the whole of my area. But I was given you the digital elevation model of this specific area, which we are working now, which is Mastuj village. But I don't know now. Is there any way to share you the DM file again, Haris? You already know about the clipping tool. We can use a clip tool. Haris, do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Actually, I think there is a missing of DM file in the data. How can I share it? How can I share it again?
Have you tried sharing it in the chat?
I try.
You click
Otherwise,
icon next to the
otherwise,
smiley face.
I asked Dr. Shafiq if is I
How
think
big is the file? How big is the file?
it's small file. I think it should be an
Go to
MB
the
might
chat.
be 1 to 2. Okay.
I can guide you. Go to the chat.
Okay. I'm
The
here.
icon next to the smiley face on the left.
Yes. Yes.
Click that. Now you can click your computer and pick up the file.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
I want to share you the DM of the area, and you need to follow me, and I'm just going to share this in the chat. You need to download and then follow me afterward.
Have you tried sharing in the chat?
No, actually, I have some other. I want to extract the file, then I will
Okay,
share.
okay, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine.
I'd have some error while extracting. Can I share all these 5 different files with different extensions in the chat?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. I think I can share one by one. Yes. You need to download these.
Yes, the files are coming in now.
Okay.
1, 2.
These are 5 files,
3.
and yes. It's 5 now, I think.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes.
Okay. You need to download these files, and then I will. You need to follow me after going to this bit. When you will be download, and then you'll be okay, then I'll start further. I'll be waiting for your responses. Those who are following me in the software, they need to download this, and then I can proceed.
Dear participants, kindly download the files in the chat sent by Dr. Ishfaq, so then you can follow the rest of the hands-on training. I think we'll give it 3-4 minutes
Yes.
or 5
Yes.
minutes for them to do it, and then we can start.
Yes. Sure.
Okay.
Okay, I need to start because we have a shortage of time. Yes, as Ibrahim mentioned as well. I can share the data through email because here it take a lot of time because shape files have itself 8 different files in it. So to share one by one.
After your
Yes.
lecture, you can share all the data through email.
Yes,
And we'll
yes,
compile it and
yes,
share it.
yes, sure. Because some participants are asking for sharing data again, so I can share later because we
I
have
think
shortage
we
of
can
time.
continue now. Even if they
Yes,
miss out right now, this will be recorded. So later on, they can download it and
yes,
go
sure.
over the file.
Yes. Okay. After having this DEM of the whole area, before I just put the DEM of the specific area, but now we have the DEM of the whole area. So we need to use the a tool which is called extract by mask. And this tool is being there in the special analyst tool. Here in this, we have an extraction. An extraction we have extract by mask. We need to click on this tool. What it's doing, this tool is actually extracting the DEM of specific zone, which is the zone of interest from the whole DM file. So I need to put the DEM of the whole area as an input raster and my area, which is must be boundary in the output. And I need to give a specific location where I need to save this. So I need to save in the DEM file. And I also need to give a name area DEM. Save and okay. Now it's going to, okay, now it has been done. So I do not need the whole DEM now. I need to remove this because I have a DEM of specific area, specific village now. Okay. So next step is to determine the parameters from the DEM. I already discussed that we have 4 different parameters which we can extract from the DM file. So first is the slope. So I can easily search slope in the search button. I hope you have this button, the search button over here. So you need to click on the slope special analyst. What I'm going to do, I'm going to determine the slope parameter from the DM. I need to put the DM file in as an input raster and the output location. Yes, I already have a folder with the name. Okay, I already have a folder with the name of parameters. So I have a parameter. I want to save it in the parameter folder with the name slope. Slope. Okay. And click OK. This is a slope map. It very easily because we have a small area, so it, the tasks are going smoothly and easily. So the after this, we don't have the attribute table for this slope map. We have different angles. For example, if we go to the properties of this file in the symbology, we have different angles like from 0 degree to 8 degree slope has been shown by this color. From 8 degree to 18 degree slope has been shown by this color and up to 81 degree, okay, which is maximum slope. But we don't have the attribute table for this specific. Okay, we can see different properties of the DEM as well as of the slope in the properties portion. Means if we click on the property, we have source. In the source area, we can see the cell size. We have 12.5 meter resolution size. Okay, this is an important thing which we need to focus on because this show your resolution of the data. Means the work. If someone asks you that how much scale you are using to determine the landslide, so this is actually the scale, which is 12.5 meter by 12.5 meter resolution. So to have a attribute table, we need to reclassify this slope. We need to reclassify. So in the search button, we need to write reclassify. click enter. We have reclassify special analysis. Okay. Now we need to put the slope in the input. We need to classify them into different classes. Now it has been classified into 9 classes. But as we have, it's totally depend upon the literature, your area, that how much importance you are giving to the slope. It depend upon this. So, but most of the in literature, most of the time, it has been classified into 6 different classes. Okay, so I can use different type of intervals, like I can use equal interval. Equal interval means the classification will be equally distributed, means from, let's suppose, from 0 to 10 degree, then 10 degree to 20 degree, 20 to 30, means 10 degrees gap. It is equal interval. Natural break, actually, this type of, it distribute the area upon the specific zone, means natural break actually look at the data of this specific area, then it divide into different classes. So for instance, I want to go an equal interval, and I divide the area into 6 classes. So I click on OK. I can also change these values as well. For example, I need to, let's suppose I want to do it manually. I want to have 15 degree, 0 to 15 degree, then 15 degree to 30 degree, then 30 to 45 degree, then 45 to 60 degree, okay, then 60 to 75 degree, and then greater than 75 degree, okay, which is up to 81 degree, which is maximum slope in my area. Maximum slope is 90 degree, but in my area I have 81.7 degree as a maximum slope. Okay, so it is the last value. I click on OK, and I also need to put output. I want to give a reclassify slope. RE stand for reclassify and slope. Okay, and I click OK, and then okay. Now I have a reclassified map, and it has been classified into 6 different classes. Okay. Now I have an attribute table as well. This is very important that we should have an attribute table. Why? Because upon this attribute table, we will be comparing the landslides with this specific parameters. Now, what is important for me? Okay, one thing which you should keep in your mind is one represent 0 degree to 15 degree. Then you have 2 represent from 15 degree. Means we have these values, and you should know that what 1 represent, what 2 represent, because now I don't have the degree here. I have 1, 2, 3 up to 6, but you should know while you are going to, let's suppose I want to repeat this step here. I didn't show you that how I'm saying that 1 means 15 degree. Let's suppose I put this, I classify it into 6 classes, and I put it in an equal interval, and then I put 15 degree, then 30 degree, then 45 degree, then 60 degree, then 75 degree, and then greater than. Okay. When I click OK, here you can see, here in this table you have all values from 0 to 15 degree. This represent 1, then 15 to 30 represent 2, and then 3, 4, 5 up to 6. So that's why I'm saying that 1 is actually from, means you can save this screen as a screenshot with for your you can say for your data, so that you know in the later stages that what is 1 and what is 2 and what is 3 and what is 4. So from this table you can see that what is 1 and what is 2 and what is 3 and what is 6. Okay, I need to cancel it because I already done this, but I just want to show that how we know that 1 is from 0 degree to 15 degree and all. So now I was going to explain you the attribute table, that 1 is from 0 degree to 15 degree, and this show that in this specific class, which is from 0 degree to 15 degree, we have that much number of pixels. We have 52,977 number of pixels. Okay. Similarly, for the degree which is from 15 degree to 30 degree, we have 56,000 and this much pixels. And for this we have, which is up to 45 degree, we have this much pixels. And it shows that most of the area, the maximum, you can say the maximum slope in the area is between 30 degree to 45 degree, because it has maximum number of pixels. Okay, so this is what I'm going to explain over here. The green, the reddish, or you can see the this color actually show the dark red color show the maximum distribution of slope, which is from 30 degree to 45 degree. So if when I have this map, a reclassified slope map, so I don't need this map anymore. So I need to remove this. Okay, now I have a reslope map. Second was the aspect map. Aspect, I need to write aspect. All these are also available. We can also search these from the Arc toolbox as well. Now, if you want to see here, aspect special analyst, here we have a direction that in toolbox, we have system toolbox, and then we have special analyst, and then we have aspect. So, but here from the search button, we can access easily and quickly. Here again, I need to put DM, and I want to put the output location. So here I need to, because this is a folder which is with the name parameter, so I need to give an aspect. Okay, I want to click OK. Here I have an aspect of the area. This is aspect, and I already explained what aspect means. Aspect means that the direction of the slope. Now this color, the gray color shows -1. It is you can say this is very flat area which have no direction, and the red color shows that these are actually the values, and these are azimuth values. Azimuth values means which start from 0 and which end on 360 degree. Okay, so these are different values, and let's suppose the red color shows the direction which is from very north, 0 degree. 0 degree means very north of the area, north direction, and it is the direction from north up to 22 degree toward east. Okay, then from 22 degree east to 67 degree east, we have orange color and then yellow color. So all these colors show different direction of the slope. Okay, but again we have same issue. We don't have the classes that, for example, north, how much area has been covered by the red color. Okay, so for this purpose, we again need to reclassify this map. Special analyst, aspect. Okay, it's again up to you that how much classification you are going to put it. But I want to put all these 10 classification as a okay. So I can reduce this class. I can increase this class as well, but as I already told you, that it is depend upon your importance of the specific parameter, and also upon the you can also follow in literature for specific area as well for to make your work strengthen. So it totally depend upon this. So these are different classes, 10 classes I need to give. Again, you need to focus on the old values and the new values, because now you have old values, you have these different values has been shown in the aspect subclasses. But when I will be reclassify it, then I will be just having 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 10. And you should know that what is mean by 1 and what is mean by 2 and what is mean by 3 and 4 up to 10. Okay, so you also need to have in your mind that what is, let's suppose what is mean by 4. So 4 means the azimuth value from 67 degree to 112 degree, 12.5 degree. Okay, I need to put an output. Again, I want to reclass, to rename it to re and aspect. Okay, Now I have a reclassified map. Okay, these colors do not matter because you can change this color as the colors below in the symbology. You have different colors. You can change these colors upon your choice, and it's not a big problem. Like for example, in the previous aspect we have this color, I think. Yes, this color. So you can also change the colors as you want. So now I don't need this aspect map, okay, because I have this aspect and I also have an attribute table which explain that which class have which number of pixels, which is important for me. Okay. So again, I'm going toward the next map, which is elevation map. Okay. Okay, elevation map, the DEM digital elevation model actually already explained the elevation map. You have a digital elevation model over here, and this is exactly it's if you see its legends, it is from the low values 2222, and the maximum value is 4730, and this is in meter. Yes, of course, in meter. So it already show you the elevation of the area, so you no need to have any other you can say other I mean, this is exactly your elevation map, but you just need to reclassify this into specific classes. So you can just have a reclassify tool, and you need to put the DIM, which is digital elevation model, and you can classify it into different classes. Now again, it is into 9 classes, but according to my need and my and literature, I need to classify an equal interval and into 7 or 6 classes. Okay, so this is from very low elevation up to very high elevation. And I click OK. Again, you have old values and new values. You know what is 1 and what is 2 and what is 6. So here I need to put elevation. Okay, and click OK. Now you have an elevation map. This is a very low elevation, and 2 means a little high elevation, and high and high and very high. Okay, you already know the values of the elevation. You need to save these values in because you will need these values later. Okay, now I generated 3 parameters: elevation, aspect, and slope. Okay, I also can generate the drainage pattern for the area, but for instance, I will not go toward the drainage pattern. I already discussed in my presentation that it's up to you that how much parameters you are going to put in, and how much parameters according to you are the reasons for the landsliding. So it's upon your choice and your area, not upon your choice, of course, upon the area where you're working uh, to see the importance of specific parameters. But for instance, because of the time, shortage of time, as much I increase the parameters, so the process will become very, you can say, it will be having more loading. So we have shortage of time. So I'm not going for further parameters for drainage pattern, because drainage pattern have 3 to 4 steps to generate a drainage pattern. Later, if someone needs, then we can, I can share some tutorial as well that how to generate drainage pattern. So, but for instance, I just going with these 3 parameters, and I also have some other parameters which I have been given to you and the data. So please click on the data, and here you have the data. I want to give location again because consistently a problem with the I have different connections. That's why. Yes, it's over here. Okay, in this data, I already gave you geology of the area. Okay, I already gave you the land use, land cover of the area. Okay, so you need to put these two parameter as well into your data. This is geological map, and how you will see the different lithologies. You need to click on the properties, click on symbology, categorize upon the formations. Yes, add values. I have 3 different lithologies, and the area is granite, marble, and a formation which is clay and some limestone. I want to click. So these are 3 different lithologies. I also can label it as well to see that which lithology is where. So this is geological map. Okay. Similarly, I have land use, land cover map. I already discussed about land use, land cover map. We have 6 parameters in land use. We have barren land. This is barren land. This is snow covered. This is vegetation area, or you can say agriculture land. This is build up area. Sorry, this is vegetation means the forest area, and we have an agriculture area, and we have water bodies. So we can also categorize this into 6 categories upon their name, last name, add values. Okay, and select. Okay, this is a land use, land cover map. Now I have 5 parameters. Okay, I have landslides. Okay, these are the landslides. I have geology of the area. I have land use, land cover map. I have elevation. I have aspect, and I have slope of the area. So I want to work on, I want to compare these 5 parameters. With a similar way, you can compare different parameters. You can also compare the drainage pattern, the faults of the area, because this area don't have any fault, a major fault passing. That's why I did not include the fault. But you can include the fault and all the other parameters which are also there for the area. With the same way as I'm going to work for 5 parameters. Okay. Now I have determined the parameters. Now I need to work on the landslide a little more. What type of work I will be doing? I need to combine the study area with the landslide. Why? Because I want to see the landslide areas and the non-landslide area. So the marked red color is the landslide area, and the unmarked portion of the area is the non-landslide area. So I need to combine the landslides and the non-landslide area of my study area. So for this purpose, I will merge these landslides with the boundary. Okay. So to merge this. Why we are going to merge? Because we are going to compare different parameters. Like for example, for instance, I have land use, land cover. So most of the portion, the green portion is in the non-landslide area. But how I will know that this is non-landslide area? Because when I do not merge the landslide with the non-landslides, till now I cannot count, or I cannot see that how much is my non-landslide area for land use, land cover map. So for that purpose, we need to combine the landslide with the non-landslide area. So to do this, we need to see the attribute table of the landslide. These are all different landslides. Okay, you can see these are the different landslides. First of all, we need to merge all these landslides as a one landslide. Okay, means how you can do this? You need to start editing on the landslides. This is landslide. Okay, I need to uncheck the boundary. I start my editing on the landslides. Now second step is that to select all the landslides. I can select all the landslides this way. And third step is to merge. I can merge these landslides. If I click on OK, all the landslide will be merged, and we will get a single attribute table with a single row, just a single row, which will select all the landslides, but I already have merged these landslides. That's why I'm not going to merge it again. If you see your data, in your data, you have merge landslides again. I don't know what is issue with my. Okay. If you see, you have landslides. You have a folder with the name landslide. No, this is not. Do you have this folder? I hope you already have this folder. If anyone haven't, then he can tell me. So then I do it again. Otherwise, because of shortage of time, I'll go. If you don't have this file, then I will, of course, I will do this step again. Do you have this file? You don't have, okay. If you don't have, so okay, quickly we need to merge these landslides. So I have selected these landslides and I click on merge and I click okay. Now all these landslides has been merged. How can I see? You can stop editing. Yes, you can see here. Now all the landslide is just in a single row. Means you can check and uncheck these landslides, and now all these have been merged as a single. You can see there. These are have been merged. So second step you need to do is okay. Now you need to come to merge it with the boundary. So what you can do for this, you have to first you need to generate a second copy of this boundary, because you will also need this boundary in the later stages. So I want to have a copy of this Mastood boundary. For this, you need to go to the data and export data. And export data, you want to have, let's suppose here, this is my location. I want to give a name of landslide boundary. Boundary oblique landslide means I want to merge the landslide with the boundary. That's why I give this name. And because this is shapefile, so I click on shapefile and okay. I can save a bit name boundary in this. Let me do it again. Let's go with by default because we don't have time. Yes. Now I will uncheck. I want to work on this boundary. How? What I need to work? I want to start editing on this boundary. I want to make it hollow. Okay. I have now start editing on this boundary. Now the second thing is I want to uncheck the boundary. This is very important. You need to know that how we are going to merge the landslides with the boundary. So these are the landslides. I want to select all the landslides because I already merged this landslide as a one. Now I had already started editing on this boundary. Now you will go to the editor and click on the clip and click OK. What happened now? Now all the portions below these landslides, the portion of this boundary of the previous boundary, which is this one, and though the portion below these landslide is become clipped, means become empty now. Now in this file you can see you have a clip file. If you select this, actually what this these steps has been done to remove the area below the landslides, the landslide portion. Okay. Now second thing is to merge. Now you need to merge. First you had removed the below areas, and now you need to merge the landslides with the boundary. For merging, first of all you need to stop editing and make the changes. Yes. And now you need to combine the landslides. Okay, these are landslides. If I give color, this is my boundary. You can, I think you can clearly see. This is my boundary, and these are my landslides. Okay, these are my. I want to merge these two things now. Go to the geoprocessing tool. Here I have merge tool, and this merge tool I will put this, drag this, and put it over here as an input data, and also the another one as an input data. Okay, now I want to give a output location. Okay, this is my output location. I want to give a name landslide, comma boundary. I want to use some small. Okay. Now you should keep in your mind that in this file you have merged the landslide with the boundary. Oh, again it has an issue. I want to okay. Sometimes we have very small issues with the file. Okay, in this file, now you know you don't need the boundary and also these landslides because you have merged the landslides. You can see the attribute table. You have non landslide area and you have landslides on it. Now you have two columns, two rows. One is the landslide area and the second is the non-landslide area. Okay, you can remove the extra columns. You can remove these extra columns as well, because these are we don't need these columns. Okay, you can determine the area. We have two columns. You can remove this as well. Okay, you can determine the area of non-landslide and landslide portion. How you go to the calculate geometry. Here you have area, parameters, and so on. So you click on area, and you need a unit which is square meters or square kilometer. It's up to you. Let's suppose I'm going with square kilometers, and click OK. So this much area 36.07 square kilometer area is non-landslide area of my investigated portion of the area, and 5.25 square kilometer area is the landslide area of the whole area. Okay, this is just for your knowledge that you can also calculate the area from the portion. Okay, you can give different colors upon categories, like we have ID. We can also give an ID, it is 0 and 1. You can give different colors like this. Now 1 show the landslide area and 0 show no landslide area. Okay. Okay, now you need all these files in a raster file. Okay, two steps are very important for which you should keep in your mind, that all of your resolution of the data should be equal. Means like we have 12.5 resolution data of DEM, digital elevation model. So we need to convert the vector files into raster file by giving to 12.5 resolution data. Okay, this is very important, which you should keep in your mind, because we are going to compare two maps. So if we are going to compare the maps, we must have a same scale or same resolution for both the maps. So we are going to convert this map into raster file, and we have a tool. Yes, we have a conversion tool here. You can go and you can go, because we are going to convert to raster. So we are going to raster, That is feature. Feature is anything which is line, point, or polygon. So we are going with the feature. Which feature we are going to convert? We are going to convert the landslide boundary. Okay, and upon what basis? Upon 0 and 1. 0 means non-landslide, 1 means landslide area, and here is an output location. Okay. Okay, here I want to have a file with the name raster files. I want to put all the raster files in it. Raster files. Okay, I want to give name landslides area landslides. Okay, I just want to give landslides area, but we also have landslides and non-landslide area in this file. Okay, one thing which I think sometimes we have problems. So in this raster file, I also want to have a database for it. I think you already know that how we can create a new database. Again, I gave the raster file names. I will discuss that why I create a geodatabase for raster file. But for instance, I want to go with this. Here I want to give landslides. Okay. Okay, here is the pixel size. So this is what I was talking about, that we need same resolution. So from environment, you can give a specific extent. Extent means means how much toward right, top, bottom, and left. What extent you are going to give to the area, because we are working on Mastood boundary, so we need to give this extent. Means toward left we have this much. You can say a coordinate system. Toward this we have this much and this much. You need to give your boundary in the processing extent, because it actually you want to see the extension of your area. So extension of your area is of course the boundary of your area. And in raster analysis, you need to give a pixel size. I want to give the pixel size of DEM of the area, digital elevation model, which is 12.5. So when I click on DEM of the area, automatically 12.5 come here. Okay. We can also put a mask. Mask means to confine your area. And of course, we need to confine our area on the Mastood boundary. I click OK and I click on OK. So now it will convert this vector file into raster file. Yes. Now we have a raster file. Okay. In this raster file, if you see its properties, and its property and source, we can see the pixel size is 12.5. So it's okay for us now. We can also see the total number of pixels from the attribute table. Here on the counts, these are the non-landslide area, the number of pixels in the non-landslide area, and these are the number of pixels of the landslide area. To see the sum of both, we can see the statistics. Here, the sum of the pixels are 33,621. These are total number of pixels in my area with the 12.5 resolution data. Okay, this is one map. Now I want to keep this map safely here. Okay, this is one map. I need to remove the base map because I do not need it anymore. Oh, it also removed my landslide because I put inside the base map. I want to load it again. Here I have raster files, and due to the base, here we have my landslides. So these are the landslides. I want to put it over here. Okay, now I want to convert my land use land cover map into raster. So again, same steps will be followed. Feature to raster. I need to put land use land cover map. Upon what basis? Upon classes because I have 6 different classes. Where I want to keep this, I want to keep in the same geodatabase with the name, land use, land cover. Okay. And what is the pixel size? I want to give you processing, which is of course my boundary, and then raster analysis. And raster analysis, I want to give the resolution, which is 12.5, which is that of DIM, visualization model, and then mask on my boundary. I click OK. Okay. Now I have another map, which is this one. I can see its attribute table that the barren land have this much number of pixels, means maximum portion of the area has been covered by barren land. Then snow cover is this much portion. This I can see the sum of these, and here we have sum. Okay, this is another map. I have 2 maps now, very final 2 maps. I also have a reslope map, and if I see its counts, and we have total number of counts, it is this much. Okay, I have this map final, I have a spec map final. Okay, I have an elevation map final. So these are 5, yes, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and geology. Where is geology? Okay, I didn't convert the geology yet. I will also convert the geology into raster. Geology of the area on the basis of formation. I will give output here. Geology. Because we have a shortage of time, I'm just going quick. We need to complete these steps. Okay, raster analysis, EM and boundary. Okay, yes. I think I went, there is, I don't know what happened. I want to do it again. Is it okay? Okay. I want to see its property. Oh, I need to convert its projection system. It should be in a same projection system as well, because we use UTM. In UTM, we have all these are in UTM. You can see here. You can see UTM. It is UTM 43 north, 42 north. We also have this in the UTM. Yes, it is over here. So I also need to convert the geology into UTM as well. So for this, I will go in the management tool. In the management tool, I have projection and transformation. From here, I can convert one projection into another. And in the project, I'll put my geology map, and then I'll put my output location. I want to put it over here, geology shape. Okay, I want to give a reproject geology. Okay. Oh, again, it has an issue. I want to give a new folder, geology. Do it in this. Okay. Again, I have output coordinate system. I want to give this coordinate projection system, which is in 43 north. Yes, that's fine. Now, okay. Okay, now I have another file created. I can add this file from here. Geology, yes, this one. Okay, If we see its projection system now, it is 43 north now. Okay, now it's fine, and there will be no issue hopefully in conversion. So now I'm going to convert this into raster. Conversion tool to raster, feature to raster, reprojection geology upon their formation. Output location, I want to give the same raster file, and this one is the output location. I want to replace this over it. Okay, I can give a projection system. I can give a raster analysis. Is this much, and of course this is. If you have any confusion, you can ask anytime. Now you can see I have a proper map which has same counts. Okay, the sum of this count will be displayed over here in the counts of the whole area. So now I have all the map has all the parameters, and the landslide has been rasterized. Okay. Okay. I can also remove these map now, the vector file, because I do not need the vector files anymore, because I'll be working on my raster files now. We can keep the boundary with us. The top, it's fine. Okay, these are different maps. Now we can see elevation, we have aspect, we have slope, we have land use land cover, we have landslides in the area, and we have okay, them is not needed for us because we already have elevation. I can remove them as well. We have geology. Okay, now what is the next step? In the next step, I will compare all these 5 parameters: geology, land use land cover, slope, aspect, and elevation with the landslides. Okay, how I will do this? I will use a tool which is known as tabulate. Means a tabulate tool, special analysis tabulate tool will be used to see. Okay, here I have input raster or feature zone, and then I have input raster or feature class data. Means I want to compare the landslides with the, let's suppose, with the elevation first of all. Okay. Values, yes, upon values. I want to give output. Here I want to have a folder combined with the name combined. Why? Because I'm combining the landslides with the with different parameters, and now I'm combining the landslides with the elevation. That's why I'm giving this name. Okay, this will create a table. Okay, now you can see same, it's fine. Now I have a table, and what this table show? This table is saying that I need, it should have one different elevation classes. I think I need to do this again. This is also fine with this, but I think this will be a little difficult to get by you guys. So I want to remove this, and I want to do this step again. Yes, tabulate again, landslides. Okay, I'm sorry, I think I need to put parameters in the first, and here I need to put the landslide. Let me check what it's responding this way. I want to replace this one, yes. Yes, now it's fine. Means in the first column, you will put in the first column, you will put the parameter. In the first, you need to put parameters, and in the second, you need to put the landslides. Okay, and you will get this type of results. What it's saying that we already know that what is mean by 1, what is mean by 2, what is mean by 3, 4, 5, 6. This is what 1 means specific elevation. 2 means another elevation, which I already discussed during reclassification, that 1 represent a new value for specific old values, which is, let's suppose, from 2000 to 3000 meters elevation, then from 3000 to 3500 elevation, and so on. So these from 1 to 6 represent specific elevation. Okay. And what is mean by value 1? Value 1 means that in this class, we have this much number of counts, number of pixels. We do not need value 1, 2, 3. We should have value 1 and value 0. So again, I didn't combine all the parameters. Currently, I'm just combining the landslide. Let me do this for another. I will also discuss this again, but let me do for, okay, is Shafkat asking that, can you repeat? So I'm doing this for the second parameters that you can follow me. You need to go to the tabulate. You need to search tabulate. Go to the tabulate tool. Here you need to put the parameters. For example, first I put an elevation. Now I'm going to do this for, let's suppose, for slope. Of course, I will do this for all. And here I need to put landslides. Okay, value. I want to give output. Here I have landslide and slope SLP, for example, and same resolution. This is a table which has been created. Yes, this is fine. I think for the elevation, I have some issues. I will fix these issues, but now I have very good output which I actually needed. Here we have slope class. Value 1 means specific slope. Of course, we know that slope 1 is from 0 degree to 15 degree. It means that in 0 degree to 15 degree, this much number of pixels is the non-landslide pixels, and this much number of pixels are the landslide pixels. Similarly, in this specific class, which is from 15 degree to 30 degree, this much number of pixels are non-landslide pixels, because value 0 means non-landslide pixels and value 1 means landslide pixels. This much number of pixels are landslide pixels. Similarly, for this class, for this, and for this, all the classes. Okay. I want to generate different tables, and then we will be using Excel sheet to put this specific data, all this data in a specific row. I will discuss also. Means we also need to go toward the Excel sheet as well. But for instance, I want to generate different combination table by combining all these tables. So I'm going toward the aspect. Here again, landslide. I hope, Shafkat, I hope you got what you are actually asking. By the way, I'm going forward. If you have any question, you can again ask. Okay, here I need to give an output. Now this time I'm combining the aspect with the landslide. So I click OK. I have a table. Yes, again, I have 10 classes. Yes, you all know that we generated aspects in 10 classes. and it's showing non-landsliding area for each class and landsliding area for each class. So we have this. Then I'll combine I've done these three. Now I'm going to do land use and cover. It's landslide. I'm doing landslide with land use, land cover. Yes, it is fine. We have 6 classes for land use, land cover, and we have different number of pixels. For example, we have class 2, and we can see from the previous table that what is actually class 2, and I think this is snow area. We can recheck it from the previous uh, another file, but I think this is 2. The 2 values show the snow area, and we don't have any landslides in the snow area, which is very top of the area. So it gave 0 number of pixels to this class. Similarly to class 4, it might be forest area or any other area. Means these are 0 shows that there is no landslide in this specific class. Okay. Now I'm going to combine the geology with the landslide. Okay. Yes. I have 3 classes in geology, and I have all the landslides in class 1, which is granite deposits. If we see, you can clearly see this. So how you can, let's suppose, if you want to recheck that is it correct or not, you just see on the landslides, and then you just go toward your geological map. You can see that the purple colors have no landslides, and the green color have no landslides, and all the landslides are in this brown color, which is class 1. So that's why we have in the table we also have all the landslides in this specific class. We don't have any landslide, any single pixel in the other 2 type of lithology. Okay, I have an issue with this one. I want to see that what might be the problem. This is fine. What about this? This is also fine for. I'm going to do this for the elevation again. But if the issue persists, we would like to proceed because we have a very shortage of time. Replace this. I don't want to replace. I want to create a new one, the elevation 2. Yes, that's fine now. Because previously I think there was an issue when I replace it. So this might be the problem. So these are different classes which I have been generated for each class. I combine the landslide with these classes. Now I want to share my another screen now, because I'm just going to show you the Excel sheet. After this step, we will be going toward the Excel sheet. I'm sorry. Okay. Haris, can you see the Excel sheet now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I have this sheet in which I put all these parameters, which we had. Here we have some other parameter as well, like curvature, we have drainage network, we have distance from road, and we have fault and so on. But for instance, we just use land use length, geology, aspect, slope, and elevation. So I want to remove the other parameters because we are not going to work on it. Also curvature. I want to remove the stream network as well, the road network, fault. Yes, geology. I have a different because this is for the whole area. We have different formations, but for instance, we have only three lithologies. We have granitite, we have marble, and another is we have this Wahan formation. So I want to remove the remaining. Okay. These are the geology, and again we have, of course, barren land, snow, vegetation, water buildup, and agriculture. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, we have 6 parameters in the elevation. We have 6 parameters. Oh, it has been changed by me. Here we have 15 degree. And then we have from 15 to 30 degree. From 30 degree to 45 degree. Degree to 60 degree. Degree to 75 degree and greater than 75 degree. Okay, these are the classes. Okay, I think I want to Haris, how much time do we have? Haris, can you please tell me how much time do we have? I cannot hear you properly.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I cannot hear you. I don't know what is an issue. Your voice is so low, I cannot hear you properly. Actually, I have a lot of steps to do. That's why I'm. Oh, we have very short time. I think. What if I discuss it further, not to do the steps, because we have very limited time. We have just few minutes now. Okay, I'm going to discuss it further up to susceptibility map. What we will be going to do further. Now we need to put tomorrow if you are doing training. Okay, this is very fine as well. I will ask Dr. Shafiq, what is the schedule? Can you share me the schedule? What is the schedule for tomorrow? Yes, I can do it by tomorrow. I mean the remaining steps, because we have a few steps, not few steps. We have I think
5 to 10 more steps. And okay, I will discuss with Dr. Shafiq, but if, for example, if we didn't get any more time for this session, then I want to discuss it further orally, and if we get time by tomorrow, then I will do these steps again by tomorrow. So I have I need to discuss this Excel sheet. What?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear.
I think there was some issue with the
Yes.
mic.
Yeah,
Tomorrow is
might
the
be.
same thing. We have 2 lectures with Dr. Shafiq and the training. So
Okay.
will you be giving the training tomorrow, or would it be Ms. Nazir?
Yeah, I'm not sure about this. I will ask Dr.
Okay.
Shafiq for this. Yes,
It's up to you.
that's why I'm
We have
I'm
like
saying that if we get time by tomorrow, then I'll do it practically, and otherwise I'm going to discuss it very briefly. Yeah, orally. So I have different classes. Now I have the values, means their elevation. I already know that how I did classify the elevation into 5 classes, 6 classes. I already know this, so I will put those values here. Similarly for slope, for aspect, I have flat, I have north, northeast. You already know if you had followed me from very start. So we already have these different classes when we classify the map. Similarly, we have the formations, we have the land use and cover as well. And secondly, we also know the number of pixel for each class. Okay, if I again share the GIS software, here you have all the class number of pixels for each class. For example, here if we see in the elevation, you have this much number of pixel in this class, and similarly for this, for this, for this. So you need to put these values in the Excel sheet. Okay, here for each class, and then you need to determine the percentage of these pixel. Percentage means the number of pixels of that specific class divided by total number of pixel of the area, which is for my work it is this much number. You will find out your total number of pixels from sum of all these number of pixels, and then you need to multiply with 100. So this will give you the percentage of class, percentage of each class. Then you will go toward the landslide pixels. How much landslide pixels are there in this specific class? From where you will get this? You will get this from the table. From here, you have table. For example, for elevation, you have this table. Now you have, these are the total number of pixel. 27, 14, 687 are the total number of pixel for this specific class. These are the landslide pixels for this specific class, and these are the non-landslide pixel for this specific class. Okay, so you need this these number of pixels in that specific column, which I'm going to discuss here. Landslide pixels for elevation and for this class. Similarly, number of pixels for another class, for next. So you will put all the data which has been acquired in the table. The landslide means value one show landslide pixel. You will put these over here. Then you will find the percentage of this value. Of course, the percentage of this value is this number divided by total number of pixels. Total number of pixels are this much pixels. Okay, these are the total number of pixels, means 625 divided by total number of pixels of landslide, total number of landslide pixels multiplied by 100. This will give you the percentage. Okay, and in this, which is the frequency ratio model, in this what we are doing, we are actually using this formula. If we look at the formula, what it's saying that F2 divided by D2. F2 means the landslide pixel for specific class. The landslide pixels for specific class divided by the number of pixel of that specific class. Okay. Then whole divided by total number of, these are total number of landslide pixels divided by total number of the class pixel. Yeah, you can say total number of the pixel of your area. So this is the formula which we are going to use after doing these steps. And in the result of this formula, we get what? We get frequency ratio distribution of each class with respect to the landslides. So this is the frequency. And what is mean by frequency distribution? Frequency distribution explains that which specific class has more importance for the landslides in your area. Like for example, here I have maximum value of 240. It's saying that this specific class, which is this one, means which is a 2000 to 3000 slope elevation, has maximum input in the landslide occurring in your area. Similarly, let's suppose in the slope we have 1.4 as a maximum value, which shows that 30 to 40 degree slope has a maximum role in the landslide occurring. Similarly, for aspect, we have northeast direction, which has maximum value, and we have southeast direction, which is maximum value, and we have south direction, which has maximum value. Means those directions which are directing towards the sun path have more wattage, or more importance, or more, you can say, role in the landsliding. Okay. Similarly for geology and for this. And now after that, we need to put these values in the. We need to put all these values in the front of each class. In the front of each, you can say, in the front of, let's suppose for geology, I need to create a table over here with the name FR or with the name wattage. Okay, and then I will put the number of pixel in this specific column. And similarly, I will do this for all the parameters. And later, after that, we need to generate a map upon these wattages. We need to generate a map upon these wattages. For example, let's suppose I want to generate a map, a geological map here in symbology. I can give a unique value as a value. Okay. If I have a wattage column over here, then I can also generate a map upon the wattage. Like for example, if I have 2 minutes, I want to have an attribute table in this. Let's suppose here I can add field. I can give FR, for example, and of course this will be float, which has decimals as well. Yes, now it is. I can start editing over it. Let's suppose I'm just assuming that. Let's suppose I have 3 different values. I have 0.009. I have, because granite has maximum value, so I want to put 0.5. Then I want to put 0.0001. Okay. Now I want to stop editing, save editing, and stop editing. Now I can generate a map on the basis of the wattage which I have been assigned. Like here I have FR. I can generate a map. Like you can see, this map shows that this color, like if I give another symbology from green to this, so this shows that the green color has a maximum wattage, but in actual we have the yellow color has a maximum wattage, but because I assume these values. So what I mean to say that we can generate different maps, and finally we need to use a tool which is called raster calculator. This tool. Here I can put all these generated maps. I can just sum all these generated maps, and this will give me here all the maps has been displayed. I can sum up all these maps and give an output. So this will be a final susceptibility map. Means these are the steps which are remaining, which I could not do because of time. But these are the steps. If I get time by tomorrow, then I will do these steps by tomorrow, inshallah. And that's all from my side, because time has been finished. And if you have any questions still here, if you have any confusion, then you can quickly ask me. Otherwise, if I get time by tomorrow, so then I will proceed from here means from the Excel sheet next up to the susceptibility map. Anyone have any question? Yes, I will try. I will discuss with Dr. Shafiq for the
If
time
there
by
are
tomorrow.
any questions, I will take
Yes.
them over email and I will forward them to Dr.
Yes,
Shafiq.
sure. You can do this way as well. So that's all from my side, and thank you
so
very
much,
much. Welcome. Thank you. Allah
Thank you so
Hafiz.
much. All right, Allah Hafiz.